Hey there, my name is Bobby Ridge. I am a life extensionist, and in case you didn't know, there's research emerging that's going to help us live to like 150 years old. With that extra time, we're going to live to 200, and with that extra time, we'll keep living longer and longer. That's called the longevity escape velocity. And God, it looks kind of messy back there. Got some of my life extension or promising life extension extract right there. I just kind of like put it in my own pills that I have over here. I have some like capsules. I just swallow them. So I swear it's not drugs. So because the dosage is too high, it's like each pill has too many milligrams of the treatments I'm taking. Okay, so Scientific American recently published an article in their magazine titled, what's it titled? What if we could live for 1,000,000 years? I'll put a link to it in the description. And it was written by Avi Loeb. Sorry if I pronounced your name incorrectly. Avi Loeb is pretty impressive. Here's his. They provide, some of his credentials. Avi Loeb is a former chair from 2011 to 2020 of the astronomy department at Harvard University, founding director of Harvard's Black Hole Initiative and director of the Institute of Theory and Computation at the Harvard Smithsonian Center of Astrophysics, a bunch of other stuff. Right? He's a pretty impressive dude, right? So you'd think that he would write a really good article. But, discussing lifespan extension is a really difficult thing for everyone. Doesn't matter how smart you are. For some reason, people have a really tough time with it. So let's talk about his article he wrote. So it's titled. It was just published in Scientific American on August 16th, 2020. So it's pretty recent, 2 days ago. So what if we could live for 1,000,000 years? Oh, by the way, Scientific Americans. If you don't know what that is, it's a popular magazine that they get scientists to write articles in. It's actually really popular. And I think they publish like monthly or something like that. And I'm sure you've heard about them. Okay, so Scientific American. 1 second. I'm doing a daily lifespan extension vlog. So in case... Okay, where are we at? So he starts relatively strong. I'm not going to read the entire article. You can go read it for yourself. The link will be in the description. But he starts off strong, man. Recently, scientists discovered bacteria that had been buried beneath the ocean floor for more than 100 million years, and were still alive. There's actually been a lot of organisms that have been revived back to life. I'm not sure if those were revived. He says we're still alive. So I'm not sure if those bacteria he's talking about were like preserved for a long time, or if they've just been evolving for that long. Like I don't really know which one. But there have been a lot of organisms that have been preserved, like in freaking ice, like nematodes, dude. I think nematodes and dang, I should have looked up which ones. I don't know. There's been a few organisms that have been literally thawed out and then brought back to life. I'm pretty sure nematodes, or some sort of worm. I should have looked it up. They were like super old. But if these bacteria were preserved for 100 million years, dude, and brought back to life, I should have looked into that. Gosh darn it, they even provided a link to it. Okay, whatever. Okay, he starts off pretty strong, and then he makes a joke about 10-year. If you live for 1,000,000 years, it's gonna be changes in 10-year. And he makes a joke about birthday candles being on a birthday cake. Okay. And then next part brings up how past generations had to always deal with inevitable death. How can we imagine? Okay, he says something interesting right here. He says, with advances in bioscience and technology, one can imagine a post-COVID-19 future when most diseases are cured and our lifespan will increase substantially. So that's interesting for many reasons. I think most people can't imagine that. At least any time in the near future. And COVID-19, I think most people think that's gonna end in the near future. I'm not sure what Avi Loeb. So that's the thing. I wish he would have said in the near future or something, right? So I'm not sure what he's. But it's great that he would say that, right? Not many people say that. That you can imagine most diseases are cured and our lifespan will increase substantially. He is saying our life. I mean, I don't know. Who knows what he's saying? Oh, he has some links too. I should have looked at the links. All right, whatever. This is just a quick daily lifespan extension vlog. I mean, and it's just a fun article to read. It's not like hard literature, right? So, so what else does he say? I think it would have been really important for him to provide the caveat that that he's talking about the near future, because I think 9% of people out there on the freaking planet thinks that it's going to take us easily over 100 years to cure all diseases. And so it would have been nice if he knew life extension and age reversal research a lot better. Okay, let's move on. Next paragraph, he asks the question. What does he ask? He says, but even he says, if that happens, if we cure all diseases and have longer lifespans, how would our goals change and how would this shape our lives? Given the luxury of pursuing longer-term plans, we could accomplish more ambitious tasks. We could decide to care more about the planetary environment and interpersonal cooperation, since pollution or hostilities carry long-term dangers. An extended life experience could make us wiser and more risk-averse, since there is much more at stake. It would make little sense to send young soldiers to war or initiate wars in the first place. Okay, dude. Now, check this out. Can everyone just clap their hands for this man right now? Because he's probably the first scientist who's a non-life extensionist. He's probably the first scientist to not go full dystopic, right? 99% of most people would have went full dystopic, right? They would have thought, complete post-apocalyptic scenario. Everyone's eating babies, dude, right? Everyone goes dystopic, and he didn't. He really understood, whoa, if we could increase lifespan, this would make people morally superior. This would make people not want to hurt each other, right? It's intrinsic in itself, and so that's really fantastic that he said that. And I really wish he would have elaborated on that, because it's super important, but he didn't. So let's move on. I really like how he said young soldiers wouldn't want to go to war. That was really beautiful. Okay. Then what else he says? He randomly brings up, people inevitably dying from accidents. He just kind of randomly throws that in. But we will be death-proofing everything, right? I mean, you can't get, he brings up, getting killed by an asteroid or, what else does it say? Accidents are inevitable, and treatment centers will continuously be busy repairing non-fatal damages due to routine mishaps. That's not going to be the case soon. We're going to automate medicine and have very robust medicine over the next couple decades, and we are actually going to death-proof everything. And so accidents and repairing people routinely and just deaths in general, by car accident or asteroids, we're going to be able to defeat all those areas of death. So that's not the case. Okay, let's move on. He brings up the issue with overpopulation. And, he says that could be a problem, right? He says something about, where is it at? He says, so 1 million-year-old people would increase to an untenable level of 100 trillion. But, at least he provides the caveat of space travel and space colonization, opening up more room for us. The thing is, from the evidence that I have looked at, it doesn't seem like overpopulation is an issue at all. Okay, and I'll be doing a life extension vlog soon on overpopulation, because, dude, a lot of people think it's the biggest issue ever, and it's not. It doesn't, or at least it doesn't seem like it is at all. When you look at the evidence, it seems pretty clear that overpopulation is not a problem at all. Okay, and then let alone, you think of just near future advancements like uploading consciousness and vertical agriculture, making mass amounts of food, and especially permacultures, and You think about, and I mean, the real compelling evidence lately that's been coming out is that when a society, when a country is becoming more advanced, when it becomes, a first world, people stop having as many children, and the growth rate in the population actually decreases, right? So that's really great. And I'll be discussing that in more detail in a future lifespan extension vlog. In the next paragraph, he says a million-year-old society will look totally different. Where does he say that? A million years in year. So since our current technologies advance exponentially on a time scale of several years, our future habitat on Earth will look entirely different a million years from now. What does a mature technological civilization look like after such a long time? Can it survive the destructive forces that its technologies unleash? Society will look completely different a million years from now. Like completely. Like it'll be like, I think a good metaphor, or maybe like a simile, is us trying to comprehend a million years from now is like an ant trying to comprehend the daily lives of a human, right? They just don't have a chance. Or a bacteria trying to comprehend it. A bacteria has no chance in comprehending, love and taxes and going to a job, et cetera, right? And so that's what it's going to be like. That's pretty much what it's like for us to try to comprehend a million years from now. Okay, and then he brings up technosignatures, a good way to study million-year-old societies is to look for alien civilizations that have destroyed themselves and see what they got destroyed from. And so I'm a huge proponent of that. That's really great stuff. We need more research in that area. And there's a lot more other things, though, you can look for, right? Like, for example, you can look at other runaway greenhouse effects on other planets and analyze those. That helps with us understanding, like, climate change, for example, here on Earth. Okay, I think this next part he really messes up. The last part. He says, inevitably, all forms of life eventually disappear. The universe cools as it expands, and all stars will die 10 trillion years from now. In the distant future, everything will freeze. There will be no energy left to support life. So you can tell he was very confident, right? Inevitably, all forms of life eventually disappear. And so, I mean, I just, it's really, I don't want to sound too mean, but it's really absurd to think that you would know what a 10 trillion year old super intelligent civilization would be capable of doing, right? And you think that they wouldn't be able to figure out that problem, right? A problem that we barely know, we barely understand if like what even occurs 10 trillion years from now. We barely understand that, right? I would imagine. I'll eventually interview astrophysicists to talk about these things in more detail. But dude, I mean, it's so hubris to make that claim. Okay, so it would be really nice if people stopped making that claim. If a 10 trillion year old super intelligence could not figure out how to get around this issue, which later on he actually contradicts himself a little bit. So okay, let's keep moving on. Should we play another song? No, I'll play this song. It sounds pretty good. Okay, YouTube's gonna be so pissed. So next he says, in the near term, the reason to keep loved ones alive, or the near term though, need not be so bleak. The immediate benefit of prolonging life is to keep loved ones alive for more time. The endpoint is inevitable, but the Greek philosopher... Okay, so the benefit of prolonging life isn't just for loved ones. That is an important reason. But, dude, there's, like, millions of important reasons, okay? So, like, millions of... Like, dude, it's, like, the most important thing, right? It means extending health span. It means extending morale. It means extending a lot of things. Very important. He talks about a philosopher, just kind of a waste of time or whatever, who needs science when you can just bring up some random philosopher's quote, right? Okay, so this last paragraph, He may have contradicted himself. So he says the million-year time scale is an arbitrary choice, comparable to the entire period that has elapsed since our ancestral Homo erectus species emerged in Africa. It is conveniently shorter than the ages of the universe, the sun, or the earth. In principle, one could imagine a life that lasts 1 billion years, during which stars turn on and off in the sky just like light bulbs. Against the backdrop of that long-term perspective, our current concerns about the world would seem as naive as the first thought in the head of a newborn baby. So the last sentence is really beautiful. Fantastic sentence, the very last one. But the overall paragraph is horrible. And for many reasons. And he may have contradicted himself, right? So he says 1 billion years from now, we could turn stars on and off like light bulbs. But then he says 10 trillion years from now, we're inevitably going to die, right? So somehow we have this total control over stars, on them being able to turn on and off. Who knows? Obviously, if you could turn them on and off, then I'm sure you can move them, right, in optimal locations for yourself, if you even needed to, because I'm sure 10 trillion years from now, you're going to be able to manipulate energy in the most incredible freaking way. But whatever, right? Okay. Okay, so there might be a contradiction there. And there's just interesting things, right? Of course, it takes 1 billion years to turn a star on and off. Okay, dude, we'll probably be able to turn a star on and off, honestly, like 40 years from now. Like a solid 40 years from now. We're going to have so much intelligence, it's going to be ridiculous. Okay, so, and that's one of the problems with people talking about lifespan extension. They don't consider intelligence. Right? And Ray Kurzweil talks about this a lot, right? How people, for some reason, fail to comprehend how much of an influence intelligence is going to have on our future, right? Even though it's so obvious. You think this would be so obvious, but it's not. And everyone always thinks like, oh, we're only going to have our level of intelligence, or maybe the last 5 years of advancement, and that's what we're going to keep seeing. Right? People think very linear, dude. They're extremely linear with their thinking. And it's really odd, to be honest. Ray Kurzweil talks all about it. Definitely check out Ray Kurzweil. Okay. What else? So it's other problems I have. I have a bunch of problems with this. First off, the paper wasn't esoteric in any way. There was almost zero valuable information. Wasn't written in really interesting, really at all. I don't know. You can go ahead and read it. Leave some comments down below if you thought there's some interesting aspects to it. But I didn't find anything interesting about it personally. Not to sound mean, but look, I really don't want to sound mean. But it's like, okay, he was a chair of astronomy at Harvard, and this paper was written. Again, I don't want to sound mean, but dude, let's be honest. This paper was written as if it was a sophomore undergrad. Okay, this paper was not impressive in any way, shape, or form. It's as if he was just he wrote it in 20 minutes or something. So that's really odd. Okay, lifespan extension is too important for people to be just writing just responses like this. I don't know. Okay, so. Of course, the biggest problem being he doesn't bring up a shred of research that is actually going to increase our lifespans. It doesn't bring up any of it. That's a little bit of a problem, right? That's a little bit of an issue. It doesn't bring up the SENS approach. How researchers are reversing aging and preventing aging of different model organisms, geroprotectors, and gero genes and stuff. The research is becoming very massive, right? And so it doesn't bring up a shred of it, whatever. Of course, leaves out superintelligence, right? Which is very odd. Okay, how can you not think that we would be ungodly intelligent 1 million years from now? I don't see how anyone can seriously think that anymore. But before I studied transhumanism and stuff, I understand, I didn't have any grasp of the future either. I just went with the crowd like everybody else. There seems to be a herd mentality occurring when people talk about lifespan extension. People seem to believe they all have this sort of collective way of thinking about lifespan extension, which is going to be dystopic and The world gonna be decaying that whole time. It's gonna be boring. And it's all like just completely false. So it's super odd. Hopefully we can get people to stop thinking that way because it's just not true. So essentially, trying to peer in a million years from now, we have no idea what's gonna happen, and we'll probably have escaped the freaking universe. We're gonna be like godlike, right? We're gonna be super, super intelligent, and or we'll destroy ourselves, or it'll be super dystopic. But if things work out, which they likely will, there's accumulating evidence that things will work out. I think this is how utopic it'll be. It'll be so utopic, any definition that you have of utopia today will be false. It'll be so utopic that even if you got lucky enough to peer into a million years from now, and you were provided the level of intelligence to be able to comprehend it all, and you got to spend like a solid 5 minutes in it, I think if you came back to now, I think it would be very difficult for you'd be almost like traumatized because things would just have been so good a million years from now. That experience, that 5 minutes experience, it would have been so good. It would just be like excruciating to live now. But also you'd be very happy because you know that you'd achieved longevity escape velocity because you are taking the necessary proactive and preventative steps to extend your lifespan. By the way, make sure you subscribe to this channel. It's super important. I think I went way over the time. Yeah, it's been 20 minutes. This is supposed to be an 8-minute vlog. I probably should have broken that up into 2 pieces. I gotta start doing that, dude. But I mean, I already spent too much time on this. All right. Make sure you subscribe. I look forward to living with all of you forever.